All right, Bill, Carlos, thank you so much again
You're welcome.
for joining us today. We appreciate it. In a moment, we will get the presentation underway, but I wanted to extend a warm welcome to all our participants who've also taken the time to be with us today to discuss the webinar entitled Web Budgeting Essentials. Before we get started and hand it over to Bill and Carlos, I wanted to share with you a bit of background about SCORE. Maybe some of you on the call today have worked with the SCORE mentor in the past or have interacted with SCORE as an organization. SCORE itself has been around for more than 60 years. And it is an essential part of what we call the small business ecosystem. SCORE provides small businesses with free and confidential mentoring. And this is really important to emphasize and underline, and also provides educational services such as what you are participating in today. And there's many local workshops around the country. There are more than 300 chapters that are dedicated, focused on small businesses, startups, the growth of the small business, and any other challenges the small businesses may face. Our chapter, the Minnesota chapter, looks after Sarasota and Manatee counties, and it's been around for more than 50 years. And this chapter has been recognized as the National Chapter of the Year for mid-sized markets. A few more details about SCORE and specifically our chapter. Many of you may think that SCORE is focused on business startup or launching business. While that may be the majority of situations, however, there are multiple stages of the business life cycle where you will find SCORE to be of substantial help to you. Not only just the launch and the startup phase, but also the growth phase and the financing and the funding phase, as you will hear from our partners today at BayFirst, all the way down to selling your business or closing the business. So we are part of that ecosystem. We are happy to support and help you through the mentorship or the mentors who are part of our chapter. A brief word of thank you to all our sponsors, including BayFirst today. Without them, we would not be able to deliver these programs, schedule and deliver the programs. So we deeply appreciate their participation, the resources they provide us. This is just a brief list of who they are. And by the way, this presentation deck and the recording from today's program, replay link will be sent to you. You'll have it as a reference, and you can revisit that in the future if you need to. And then finally, before I turn over to Bill and Carlos, I wanted to mention that if you're interested in receiving help from SCORE Minnesota, you can request a mentor. You can go to our website, and I'll come back to the slide at the very end to help you revisit and show you an example of how to fill out a form to request a mentor. So without further delay, I'm going to introduce today's speakers, and I'll turn it over to them to share their presentation. So today we have with us Carlos and Bill. Bill Jarima is originally from the Chicago area and located in Sarasota more than 25 years ago. And Bill joined BayFirst about 4 years ago as a VP commercial lender. So he's definitely an expert in the space of commercial lending. If you have any questions, definitely use the chat window to submit those questions. Bill is also the state president of the KFC State Council Bowling Association and is on the membership committee for the Gulf Coast Builders Exchange. Some of Bill's hobbies include bowling, hiking, and spoiling his dogs. Carlos, again, thank you, Carlos, for joining us today, is a third-generation native of Sarasota's Newtown community, and in 2021 joined BayFirst as a business development specialist. Carlos attended and graduated from the University of Georgia after a brief career in the NFL. Fantastic. Carlos returned to Sarasota to raise a family, and he serves as a board member with the City of Sarasota CRA Board, Amarillo's Park Neighborhood Association, and Healthy Start. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bill and Carlos to start sharing the presentation and get the program underway.
Tom, are you going to put the presentation on the screen?
I'd like you, if you can, to do that on your own, so you can drive the slides at your own pace. So if that's okay.
If I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see my slides, but I don't think my slides can be seen on the screen.
Yeah, all I have to do is use the share command in Zoom at the very bottom and share your presentation.
Share screen?
Share screen, right.
Okay. Screen 3, there we go.
Awesome.
You guys can see it?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, we are going to start. The name of the project here is Budgeting Essentials. And we're going to go through a few things. We're going to start with our agenda.
Bill, if you can switch to the presenter view in PowerPoint, that would display the entire slide on the full screen.
So what do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
If you go to
Oh,
the view command, you can display. I'm sorry. You can, if you go to the slideshow command in PowerPoint, you can start from the beginning. There's a command that lets you display the slides on the full screen.
okay, I see your screen sharing.
So this is your screen, the one you're sharing right now. This is yours. All we need you to do is to go to the slideshow command at the very top. There's a bunch of commands, and when you click on slideshow, you will see a command that says from beginning,
Got it.
and that will let you. Perfect.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah, let's see if that works. Okay, so now to our agenda. Why do we need a budget? We're going to create a budget. We're going to setting SMART goals. I'll tell you what SMART means a little bit later. And then, of course, measuring success.
Bill, I'm sorry, we're not seeing your agenda slide. You just need to return to the slideshow if you don't mind. Start from the beginning, and then you can use your arrow key to move from one slide to the next.
Okay, page up. Okay, I'm at budgeting essentials. Can you see that?
Right, we see the first slide, which is perfect, but we don't see it in presenter mode. We're seeing it in PowerPoint with the other slides.
So maybe I do this like that.
So if you could take your mouse to the slideshow command at the very top, all the way, there's a collection of commands, and
Okay.
click from beginning.
All right.
Okay, good. Okay, for some reason, it's not letting you do that. Let's see why. All right, well, tell you what, let's not waste any more time on it. Please proceed as is and move your slides manually so we can see your agenda and next slides.
Okay, I just got through the agenda.
If you don't mind clicking back the agenda slide so we can just simply see it one more time.
Okay. You got, how about now?
Sorry, I'm not able to see your slides move on. If you can you click the agenda slide number 2? Is that possible?
About that. And that one says, think about this.
So there's a command called resume slideshow. Do you see it? It's towards the left-hand side of your screen.
Resume. I got from beginning, from current slide, and custom slideshow.
Okay. Tell you what, if you don't mind, there may be another PowerPoint window behind this window where your slideshow is taking place. We just need to get to that window. If you can move that window, see if it's there.
So X out of it.
Yeah, that will close PowerPoint. So let's try that. Okay, now let's relaunch PowerPoint if you don't mind. And once it's up and running, your presentation is running, let's reshare the screen. See if that will help.
No.
Yeah, we just need to go back to slide number 2.
I think when I X'd out of it, I X'd out of it altogether. So hold on for a second. Hey, okay. Carlos?
Bill, tell you what, let me take over. Let me share. If you don't mind, stop sharing. I'll go ahead and share. And you just tell me when you want to move the slide, then I'll advance the slide.
Say next.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this was the agenda. We covered that. Let's go ahead and start you off.
Okay. It's not showing the verbiage on there. So let me see if I can pull it back up here. Bear with me for a second here.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're, like I said, think about this. Even on a $100,000 annual salary, millions of Americans need to live paycheck to paycheck. Next. Money disappears. It comes, it goes. sometimes if we're not careful enough to watch where it's going, it just kind of flies away. Here we go. Hold on for 1 second. I think I just found what I'm looking for here. Okay. So now I can kind of go along with you. Okay. Next. Think about all the lottery winners who've lost it all. Many people were not budgeting their money correctly. We're not spending their money correctly and didn't really have any guidance. So even though you have either little money or a lot of money, you still need to do a budget. Next. Again, we talked about money in, money out. We must have gone over 2 slides. So go to next, go to reflection. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with your personal finances? Do you budget regularly? For those of you who don't, why not? And for those of you who do, what do you get out of it? Next. Yeah. You got to be able to prioritize your expenses. It's important to distinguish between needs and wants when making financial decisions. Carlos and I talked about it yesterday. The needs are, food, shelter, water. The wants are not an essential. An example would be a bottle of Dasani water as opposed to Perrier water. A vacation, maybe staying in state or going to Costa Rica. Those are some of the things that are wants, but not necessarily needs. And now we're at going to slide 9, and Carlos will take over. Okay, switch.
Hello. Budgeting essentials.
We know you're on slide 9.
Slide 9. Am I changing slides?
No. You just tell them next when it's when you're done with a particular slide.
Okay. What's a budget? A plan for your money. Next. It didn't. Mine didn't. Okay, we're looking here.
You gotta do your own on that screen.
Budgeting process. Assess personal finances. What do you spend money on? Set a personal goal. Create a budget based on your projected income. Monitor current spending patterns. Revise budget as needed. Next. Financial checkup. In my opinion, financial checkups are similar to car tune-ups. So we're gonna weigh them as such. I think even though everything is going well, you may need a financial checkup. And money in, paychecks is considered money in, benefits considered money in, investments, income, self-employment, ride sharing, home sharing. All of those are considered money in because they either make money or save money. Money out, bills, housing, cars, food, credit card, loans. Those are considered money out. Next. Sorry about that. Next, please. 12. Okay, financial checkup. Here's where I compare financial checkups to car tune-ups. I think you should do one perhaps every 4 months if things are going well. Money in again. You have enough money to cover your expenses. That means you're doing pretty good. You may be able to pay down principal debt. That's money in. You may be able to save. Now money out. You may be able to invest. You may be able to spend. You may be spending too much on late fees. You may need to raise or seek additional income, part-time job. You may need to cut expenses. By cutting expenses, some of the stuff Bill was talking about as wants may have to get cut. Next. Financial automatic. Bills are essential. We have rent here, but since we work for a bank, we want to make that a mortgage. So we have mortgage, cars, insurance, and food. Those are needs. Spendings, night out, and hobbies are considered more of wants. Emergency saving, in my opinion, is a need, because if that AC breaks, that car breaks, you're going to need those things in order to survive and live comfortably in society. The next one is vacation, and in my opinion, that's more of a want as well. So the wants can be cut, you guys. Next screen. Financial goals. Why is this important? Income versus expenditures. Signs you may need a budget. This is the most important part of one of the most important parts of my presentation right here. Signs you may need a budget. Your budget balance are increasing. Balance is getting up. And you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Everybody understands that. You're taking some of the grocery money to take care of some of your needs, not your wants. You have an emergency fund. Any unexpected expenditures could be a financial disaster. You don't have any emergency funds, you're in trouble unless you got a good friend like Bill back here. He'll help you out. You live paycheck to paycheck. That's another, that's a juggling act that most of us don't want to do or can't do. Traditional approach to money. Our traditional approach to money is income, is bills, is leftover, and financing. That's the old type approach that most people use. Now we break it down in different categories. We have financial, and then we have what was that other one we just looked at? They break it down into savings. One category can be savings, and one category could be night out or things that bring you some type of joy, because we are human. And the next one, we'll go down to Warren Buffett.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, we're gonna switch again.
All right, so next, Warren Buffett's advice is do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Quite honestly, I prefer to follow Jimmy Buffett's advice and go to Margaritaville, but that's just me. The biggest mistake is not learning the habit of saving properly. That is so true. Next, save your money. Got to make a savings goal, whether it's $10 a paycheck, $20 a paycheck, $100 a paycheck, or if your company offers a 401k, how much are you going to put into your 401k? And the good thing is it's money you really don't see, because if you know you're going to do it, you're going to put it away. You don't see it until you absolutely need it. And hopefully that's when you retire. Open a savings account. You can do a savings. You can do a money market. You can do, if you've got an investment advisor, I mean, there's all kinds of different things you can do. And understanding compound interest. Carlos and I were talking about that yesterday. It's just amazing how the interest can build over a period of time. And of course, save for unexpected expenses. We talked about the air conditioner going out, a roof, a car repair. I mean, there's so many things that can hit you. And the last thing you really want to do is put it on a credit card at 20-something% and not be able to pay for it expediently. Next. And these are not bank accounts. I mean, I don't even know what, I know what Venmo is, but I don't really know what Cash App is. PayPal, we use it, but it's definitely not any type of savings vehicle that I know of. Why it's got a picture of a bank crossed out in here. You got to talk to Joe about why it's crossing the bank out. But these instruments here on the left side, the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are not FDIC insured. It's I guess there are fees, and what they are, I'm not sure, to access your money. And one of the drawbacks is you cannot cancel transactions once you make them. Once you make that decision, you can't say, "Oh, wait a minute, I didn't need that." And then, of course, there's no fraud protection, which it's rampant in society today. Next, get the best return on your savings. You can see the big banks there, and I don't know when exactly this slide was made. I want to say it was late last year, earlier this year, because the rates have changed a little bit. But look at the big banks, Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo, how low their payout rates are. Then you look at some of the banks that are more diverse, Capital One is really focusing on credit cards. They're paying 3.5. We were paying 3.75 at one time. And Ally Bank, I'm not really familiar with, but they got a savings rate of 3.75 and a money market rate of 4. I can tell you our money market rate is approaching that 4 now as well. So I'm not really sure where the 0.30 came from, but you can see the smaller banks in general will pay a little bit more than the larger banks. Not that I'm trying to do a commercial or be a salesman here, but it's very typical. So next looks like the same screen. Oh, okay. Traditional approach to money. Okay, we talked about income, the income you receive from paychecks, from doing chores, from scholarships, and any other thing, like say if you get bonuses or incentives, that's all good stuff. There's bills, the payments you make from your car, your phone, your rent, your mortgage, your insurance. Make sure you shop for those, because I've seen car insurance rates, vary from agent to agent. Phone, I mean, you can get a plan for as low as $25 a month, or you can get the same plan at a different phone company. We're talking about cell phones, of course, that are approaching $200 a month for the exact same thing. So make sure you're doing your shopping, especially on phone. It doesn't have on their cable as well. For television, I mean, again, we talk about the wants and the needs. So cable TV right now today can be pretty expensive. And then leftover savings for short-term and long-term goals, investment savings accounts, CDs, money market, that's all the good stuff. That's what you want to have. You want to have money left over so that you're able to invest really in yourself and in your future. And of course, if you want any financing, you got to understand the terms of any loans, lines of credit cards. Again, credit cards, that really has hurt a lot of people, I think, over the last, say, 20, 30 years, because the rates are so high. Make sure you're paying down some principal and you're making your interest rate time payments. Next, I told you we talked about SMART goals, right? Yeah. One more slide. There we go. SMART goals. SMART, it's an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And now we're going to let Carlos explain those 5 acronyms, or that acronym.
Thank you, sir. Goals need to be achievable. Here we determine whether the goal is realistic or out of reach. If
That's on the left side.
come down.
First, you want to create a budget. Let's say next. All right, next. There you go.
Next. Okay. Next. First, you want to create a budget. Does everybody have budgets out there? Next, make a budget. When we make a budget, we want to make sure we put our needs in first. Needs would be rent / mortgage, electrical bill, internet, cell phone, car insurance, credit cards. I'm going to also add water and light bill, water bill in that scenario. So when you're creating a budget, you add your needs and your wants together to equal money out. And we also want to have in our budget our emergency savings and our vacation savings as well.
You got expensive taste going to the Maldives.
Yeah, very expensive taste here, but we understand that, don't we? Okay, so now we created a budget. So here are some of our budget killers. Next. Thank you. Budget killers, car ownership. It says budget killers, but that's a necessary must, in my opinion. And you're gonna have to have fuel for that car. You're gonna have to maintenance that car. You're gonna have insurance for that car. You're gonna have to have the emergency savings for repairs if need be, when need be. Financing of that vehicle, state fees, depreciation. Cars depreciate at a high rate, so be careful with your car purchases, ladies and gentlemen. Next. Budget killers, home ownership. That's up on the budget killers, but to me, it's a necessary must again. Home ownership, home insurance, property insurance, HOA fees, homeowners association fees, maintenance of that house, roof replacement of that house. Hopefully insurance will take care of that. HVC or furnace replacement, AC repairs, basically major appliance repairs and replacements. All of those are items that you will be responsible for once you become a home, once you switch that rent to mortgage. Next. Other budget killers. Daily coffee, that can be a real budget killer. Hopefully we aren't smoking. If we are, we're trying to cut back. Alcohol, buying your lunch daily. Bill and I bring our lunch on a regular basis. Credit card interest, late payment fees, cable streaming services, pet care, and child care. I am currently an empty nester, but I understand child care can be rather high. Next. Common budget killers items: coffee, fancy bottled water, DoorDash. I understand DoorDash is a legitimate business out there, but I don't want to keep them in business myself. Purchase price for the coffee. This is one coffee at $3.65. Don't seem like much, but then when you get a week's worth of it, and then a month's worth of it, and then the annual cost, so you're losing over $700 a year stopping and getting coffee without taxes. Looks like it says at the very top. So that number, that 700 number, would be larger than what we see because it's without taxes. Let's go to the bottled water. You got one bottled water there once a day for $1.29. By the time you get to a week, you up to $6.45. A month, you don't spend $25, and annually you don't spend over $300 on bottled water. DoorDash, this is a big one. Okay, one time it's nearly $20. If you do it for the week, it's nearly $60. If you do it monthly, it's $231. By year's end, you spend nearly $3,000 on DoorDash, which is not, it's a service. You're not even getting a product. Next. Measuring success. Everybody has a different measure of success. That would basically, I'm going to give you a couple of key points to get your mind going in the success pattern, but everybody sees success different. Your debt balance are decreasing. You pay off credit cards monthly. Hey, pay off your credit cards monthly, which means no compounding interest. You pay yourself before paying your bills. That's kind of controversial. I hear that word. I hear paying yourself first a lot. You can pay your bills on time and have enough left over for essentials. you have 3 to 6 months of emergency funds. 3 to 6 months of emergency funds will have you living a lot more comfortable than no emergency funds. You invest part of your savings plan for your future. So you invest part of your earnings for your future. That's preparing for your future. Because I heard a financial planner tell me once, you take control of your finances or they will take control of you. Next. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes.
Okay, Bill, Carlos, thank you so much for your presentation. I will address a couple of questions that came in. Those are relatively easy to go through. One is, many asked if we can get a copy of the slide presentation. The answer is yes. We will be sending this out with a replay link, so you can listen to the presentation if you'd like, or use it as a reference. Now we'll come back to some questions that were sent or submitted in the Q&A and the chat window. One of the questions, I think you can see that, Carlos and Bill. This is from Lisa on a question: as a brand new business owner, how do I determine what to budget for different parts of the business? Lisa's a baker making goods. When orders are received, Lisa's trying to create a business by selling at the farmers markets and directly to other businesses and events. So in summary, Lisa's trying to find out what kind of budget she should consider as she's starting her new business.
I can't. If they click summary link to
Carlos, don't worry about it. I'll read you the question, so
Okay.
this way you don't have to worry about it. So again, the question from Lisa is, she's just starting a brand new business. She's she's a baker. She's baking goods for orders that she's getting. She's interested in, as a new business owner, how does she determine what to budget for? What to budget for, like raw material or equipment, anything you can help her understand how to set up a budget for her business.
Yeah, she's really going to need to understand not only her product, obviously, but there's going to be inventory, there's going to be furniture and fixtures, there's going to be a rent she may be paying, utilities, and if she's going to be leasing the property, she'll need to, if possible, know what kind of lease that it is. Is it single net, double net, triple net? Because that'll tell her what part of the expenses she's paying. But really, there's so many things that will go into it: the general administrative expenses. And you can also do some research online. I believe you can get it through Robert Morris and Associates. So you can look and see what the average margin is for your type of business. Is your NOI, your net operating income, supposed to be based upon others in the United States, maybe with that same size business? Is it going to be 5%, 10%, 15%? There's quite a few things that go into it, but certainly with a little research and a lot of effort on her part, she'll be able to succeed.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
I like to touch on that as well. Lisa, since this is your business, I think you will follow more of like the slides we just did. What are your needs? Those are things that you're going to have. So you put those down in your budget first. And then you may have some wants out there that you want to have established with your business. I'll put those down second. Those are things that you may be able to afford starting out, and you may not be able to afford starting out. But I would do the wants and needs just like we did in the slides, Lisa.
Well done.
Great, thanks, Carlos. Good suggestion to separate wants and needs. Definitely appreciate that. Let's move on to another question we received on setting up an emergency fund. So we heard from you that it's great to have an emergency fund for expenses for 3 to 6 months. But as a business owner, what type of emergency fund should you be thinking about? Is it something that's longer term? Is it something that could help you cover expenses, rent, insurance, or is it something more than that?
as a business owner, I think it would be similar to what you would have as a person. Me and Bill had a scenario yesterday. He and I spoke about it. It said you need to times 300 times what your bills are now. And that scenario came up to $1.5 million.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was-
Yeah, that's what.
Mhm.
So that's the type of scenario Bill and I went over yesterday in preparation for this scenario, this presentation today.
And one thing for new business owners too, I see a lot of them. I've tried to help a lot of them, and we've gotten them over some hurdles. Generally, in your first year of business, breaking even is kind of the goal. In year two, you start making a little bit of money. Hopefully, by the time you get that third year, you've overcome a lot of the hurdles, and that's really when we see the businesses start to take off. There's different business cycles of a business, but that's a whole different presentation. From startup to mature to there's about 4 or 5 different phases. But yeah, in your infancy, small steps, and hopefully as you move forward, you can start taking the larger steps towards profitability.
Great. And our final question, Bill and Carlos, is about, you mentioned different financing instruments that could help you in the short term. You mentioned applications or instruments like PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, other payment protocols out there. There's a high risk. You mentioned that there's not only a lot of fraud, but also you cannot recall the payment. Once it leaves your account, you can't pull it back. Is that a sound strategy for any small business who may be looking to obtain immediate financing to be paid with these instruments, or do you foresee higher risk?
I generally, like on a new business, I don't know that I'm not an expert in PayPal, Venmo, and whatever else was on there. But as you're talking to your banker, he or she will look at it, because most of the times with startups, we'll try to look at a quick SBA option. We can offer, short-term loans or working capital lines to startup businesses, which are guaranteed up to 75% by the SBA. Now that's a certain loan program for $150,000 and under. Once your business gets a little bit more mature, I talked about the different stages. As you're at about the 2-year point, then you've got a little bit more leverage. Then you can start talking about a possible conventional loan, and then that's where I wanted to move back to interest a little bit. One thing with the SBA, while they do a great job helping small business owners get their start, their rates are a little bit higher right now because they're tied to prime. A couple of years ago, they might have been lower when prime was lower, but they're generally about 275 basis points above prime on a variable basis. And what is prime now? 7.5. So you'd be doing that math, you'd be at a 10.25 rate. Once you get to the point where you're past 2 years, then you can start looking at conventional financing. And while it's tied to prime, it's usually a spread of prime plus a half, prime plus 1. And so it's much more cost efficient. Although, like I said, the SBA, it's not a terrible rate, but the SBA does a great job in getting small business owners financed right from the start.
Great, thank you, Bill. That was our last question. We will pause for another minute or so and see if any other questions come in, but I wanted to take a moment to thank you, Bill and Carlos, for spending time with us today on building this program. We appreciate it, and thank you to all the participants who joined us today. We'll stay online for an extra 1 minute. If there are any other questions, feel free to submit them via chat. Otherwise, have a pleasant rest of your day. Thank you so much.
You too, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Well, perfect timing.
Yep. But the A team, I love when the plan comes together.
Yes. We started out